Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie. Today I'm going to share another tag video and I'm joining my very good friend Janice. This week we are highlighting word art. So that means you can go into your stash and pretty much use all of the scraps that you have to create really pretty tags. I'm going to make 2 tags with you today. Actually, I'm going to make 4. I'm going to show you 4 examples just in case you don't have the supplies that I have and to give you plenty of ideas to go through your stash and make pretty tags. For my tags today, the color inspiration came from my wrapping paper. You can see that it's black, red, white, and a little bit of green. And this is a double-sided wrapping paper. I did get this at Costco last year, but I thought I would match my tags to my paper. I got that really good tip from Chelsea when she posted her video last week, so I thought that's really brilliant. Let's match our tags to our paper. So you see here that I have 4 tags. I've done all of the die cutting only because I'm sure you want to get to the good stuff, which is putting these together. I'm going to go through a few of the stamp sets that I'm using, and again, I went stash diving. This stamp set is from a long time ago. It is called Geometric Backgrounds, and I was looking for something to make a little bit of a plaid on my bows. So anything that you have that is little squares or a plaid, or you might actually have plaid paper that would suit this bill. I just went for this stamp set. I also got this really pretty wreath, and I thought it would make really nice Christmas tags. So those are going to be done in green. And then here I'm bringing out another one of my favorites. This is CC10 2217, and this was a special last year where they had tons of tags, and I really like the to and the from. So if you look here on my mat, I've gone ahead, I've used the buildable tags. I've used the Joy thin cut for my word art. You might have this alphabet here in your stash, and I feel that that fits really nicely on the stamp. And then you'll see that I have them here in black, and then here I have them in silver because that's the color in my wrapping paper this year. I've gone ahead and I've cut 2 pieces of green cardstock, and this is a 4x4, and I'm going to stamp that really pretty wreath. I'm going to use my Misty here just because this stamp set, the little wreath, has a lot of details, and I just want to make sure that I stamp that on really nicely. This is Clover, and I'm using it on the light side. Now, because my paper is red, white, black, and silver, I'm going to use archival black ink, and I'm going to give it maybe 1 or 2 passes. There's a lot of really pretty details in this stamp, and using the Misty definitely will help. So you can see here that I need another pass. It's not perfectly stamped. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a little bit more ink. And look at this. Isn't that pretty? It is so full of details. It is perfect for Christmas. So I'm going to do 2 because we're doing 2 tags today. And then we're going to go on and create the bows and the tags. We're going to do a little bit of an assembly line process. Here are my 2 wreaths. Those are going to go with the silver word art that I have here on the side. I'm going to let these dry right here, and I'm going to move on to the tags because I have a treatment for the tag, and then I want to do some stamping on my bows. Now you can see here that I have 2 tags, and because I'm doing black splatter, I know I'm going to get it on the back side, so I'm going to keep 1 to the side, and these are going to be for the to and from, and hopefully I'm going to keep them clean. I'm going to do all 4 tags at once for the splatter because I know that I need to let this dry, and then I can move on to the stamping. So I'm going to get my splatter box. We're going to splatter the front of these tags, and for this splatter I thought I'd bring in some acrylic black paint. I've had this in my crafty space for a very long time. Last week I used just regular re-inker, and this time I want to use acrylic paint. And the reason why is that it kind of sits on top. It doesn't soak into the cardstock, and I think that it's going to show more. So I'm just going to add a tiny little bit, and then I'm going to add some water. It's going to make it so that it's a little bit easier to splatter. I'm going to use a small brush right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to splatter all over these tags here. And you can see that I've got some really big splatters. So I'm going to start here at the bottom. You're probably thinking that's a lot of splatter, but a lot of this tag is going to be hidden. So that's why I'm putting so many splatters. And here at the end, I'm just tapping with my bone folder because I want smaller splatters all over. We're going to allow these to dry, and we're going to move on to the bow. We're going to move on to stamping on the little bows right here. And my image that I have is a check, which I really like, but I didn't want it to go horizontally. I wanted it to be on a 45-degree angle. Now, if you have this great mat, you'll see that there's a 45-degree angle right on the mat. You're going to go ahead and you're going to add your little cushion right here just to give it a better impression when you stamp. And then you're going to take your bow shape and you're going to line it up against this 45-degree angle line. And then you're going to stamp straight. So you'll see in a second. Let me show you. I found that this was the easiest way to keep that same angle and have a really nice pattern on my bows. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to go over the center just like so. And I'm going to push that in. See that? That is a perfect 45-degree angle right on this bow. So we're going to do that again. Just want to make sure my bow is lined up with my line. And then I'm going to go straight. There you have this really, really pretty pattern on your bow, and it was really easy to do it with this 45-degree angle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp all of those, and then I'll show you how easy it is to put this cute bow together. Once you're done all of your stamping, don't forget to wipe off your little sponge here because it's going to be full of red ink. So make sure that you clean that off. Actually, I'm going to run mine under water because it is very saturated with red ink, and I don't want to get red ink on all of my project. Okay, we're going to flip our Versamat on the other side because I want to do the stamping on the back of these tags. These are the clean ones. These ones here are nice and dry, but you can see that even if you try your very best, it's not always that easy to keep the back of your tags clean. But I do think that the black splatter looks really good, but unfortunately, I always seem to mess up the back. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to stamp our to and from with candy apple. And we're going to glue those together, and all my little mess at the back is not going to show. I'll bring a little test piece here to make sure that it is stamping nice, and it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp the to and the from. And I like to have them both on the same block. It's just easier for me. So I've got the to and the from. We're going to do that again, and then I'm going to keep those out of the way so I do not dirty them. So we're going to move them up here, and we're going to put the front of this tag together. Now the first one here, again, I did use the Joy die, and I will list whatever is available down in the description box below, but I want to show you how this is going to look. So I've got my wreath. You can see that the black is picking up on the black. We're going to do the same here. And then I'm going to have the Joy on top. And then if you don't have that one, but you have individual letters and alphabet, I think that that looks really, really nice too. So before I adhere all of that down, let's set aside a couple of bows and their little tails. And we're going to put those together because we need to allow them to dry. So these are super cute and they come together really, really nicely. I like to just use, you can use a pen or whatever. I just like to curl the bow just so that it's a little bit easier when I glue it down. And then you're going to need tweezers, preferably some that are self-closing, and you'll see that it's really, really good when you're putting these little bows together. So I've got a little dot of glue right here in the center. And then I'm going to add another little dot of glue, and I'm going to push that in, and then I'm going to use my tweezers, and I'm just going to hold that in place, and I'm going to allow that to dry. This back piece here, we can put it together after. So we're going to do this one here, and you'll see that it doesn't take long for it to stick together. So again, one little daub right here, and I push that in, and then I do another little one, and then I push that in. So I'm going to hold that, and see, this one's already ready. And then we're just going to let that sit. So this one here, even if it's a little bit crooked, don't worry. We're going to add a couple of jingle bells. Now, I don't know about you guys, and you know who you are out there. I purchased, I don't know, maybe 100 of these on Amazon. So I need to start using them. So we're going to use 8 today, and that's going to really help with my stash. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Do you see this little N? I'm going to curl that because this goes on top of my bow, right like so. And again, if it's not perfect, we're going to have that little jingle bell right in the center, and it's going to look really cute. So this is a little tight when you pop it around, but this is how it's meant to go. It's just sometimes a little difficult. So I'm going to push that in with my nail, and then I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and I'm going to hold it in place. And there we go. This one should be ready. And then we're going to hold it in place. And that's going to go right on top. So we're going to do the same thing one more time. So I am going to, so from the back side, you curl this little piece right here because that wraps in the center of the bow. So if I can get my fingers out of the way for you to see, which is not easy because it is a small little piece. Let me see here. There we go. So do you see how that fits on top? It wraps around the center of it. So I'm just going to secure that down with a tiny little bit of glue. I'm going to try that again. You know what? You can also add a little bit of glue right here to secure your bow in the center. I think that's going to work a little bit better. It's not going to move around so much. And then I'm going to wrap this around. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back side. And I'm going to use my tweezers to hold everything together. A little tricky, but at the end, it really doesn't matter because we're going to add a little jingle bell right here. But isn't that cute? Look at this cute little bow. It's really going to make a difference on our tag right here. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to add my wreath right in the center and a little bit down. And I want to leave myself enough space so that I can add my bow to the wreath. So as long as you kind of dry fit everything, you should be good. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue on both sides. And I'm going to push that right into the tag. And do you see, I have all this mess in the back, but we're going to fix that. I anticipated that was going to happen. I'm going to start with the O, just to make sure everything is nice and centered on the tag, and that I'm leaving myself enough room for the bow. I think I'm going to put the bow in right away, because that's something that I want on the wreath. So that's going to go right here, right on top, and then we're going to start adhering these letters down for our word art. Okay, so that's the first one right here. And let's use one of these little jingle bells. You know what? I think I'm going to use hot glue. So I'm going to warm up my hot glue gun. Now, if you have a little bit more time, I'm going to show you how you can make your wreath stand out even more. I'm going to use this marker here. It's Alpine Green, and I'm going to use the mid-tone. And I'm not going to color the entire image, but I don't know if you can see these. I'm going to color in all of the long leaves that are in this wreath, and this Alpine marker is the perfect shade to add a little bit of dimension to your wreath. I'm not shading anything, I'm literally just coloring these in, and I find that it gave my wreath a little bit more dimension. Now, I know it's a tag, and sometimes we don't want to add all of that extra work, but it's also fun sometimes to, if you have time, definitely if you have time, this is just one extra little step, and I find that it really makes the wreath stand out. So you can see here that it just really gives the wreath a little bit more dimension. And again, if you have time, it doesn't take all that much time. And then here I'm going to add some shimmer to these big ones right here, these big leaves. So hopefully you can see the shimmer and shine on this piece, and it just looks a little bit more festive, and it definitely gives it more dimension. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add this to my front tag. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Just want to make sure that I don't add glue on the ends. And we're going to pop this on. And then we're going to add the word joy and our bow. I really like the bright red against the green. I think that it looks really, really nice. I'm just going to add my word joy. And then we're definitely going to use up some of these because I have probably 100 of them now in my stash in various colors. So I'm going to let this dry, and we're going to move on to the next one. I'm also going to add the little tag topper. I'm going to glue that down. So let's move these ones to the side. I'm going to assemble my little bow very much like I did the other ones, and then we're going to bring in this really pretty snowflake. And this snowflake again was in my stash, and I figured if you didn't have a wreath, you might have a snowflake in your stash, and you can do this tag and create these cute bows. So all of these are done with dies, and they're pretty easy to put together. So we're gonna add our little bow right at the top. I'm gonna set that to the side. I'm gonna put a block on here so that it stays down on the glitter paper. And we're gonna do this one here. So it's the same thing, same process. Okay, while the hot glue gun is warming up, I'm gonna add my clean tag to the back. And you see that it looks really nice when it's all done up. I like the two in the from in red. I think that that looks great. So we're gonna do it on this side here. Our little jingles in the center. I think that looks really sweet. So the last thing is to add a little bit of thread at the top. So this is about this is a nice generous piece. I'm going to go ahead and straighten that out just so that it removes the kinks. And then we're going to fold it in half and then in half again. I want it to be nice and thick. And we're going to pop this through the front and loop it in. And then we're just going to open up this loop. And there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that for all of them, and then I'll show you the completed artwork nice and close. All right, let's take a look at these tags. Aren't they cute? Now, don't forget, if you're making tags, take a look at your wrapping paper and get inspired from your wrapping paper to choose your colors, because that's definitely what I did right here. And I did use a lot of things from my stash. This is a word art that I've had for a while. The word joy. I've got this really cute bow that's in my stash. We did some stamping. This one here, I hope that you can see that we added a little bit of color and a little bit of shimmer, and I find that it defines the wreath a little bit more. But hey, if you're in a pinch and you don't have time, even if it's not colored in, I think that it looks really, really great. If you don't have this joy die cut, you might have alphabets that will fit on your tag. Now these are red, silver, and black, and I think that they're quite stunning, and they're gonna look really, really good on my gifts this year. That's it for me today. Don't forget to go watch Janice's video. I will link it at the end and in the description box down below. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.